the Ellen situation.
Yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a bitch. And they were like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece of shit. And he was like, she's a monster.
All these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice...
Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly are joining forces to uncover Ellen DeGeneres like never before. What secrets might be tucked behind that famous smile? Is it just smooth dance moves or something way more surprising? Hint, it's wild, uncomfortable, and honestly hilarious. If you thought daytime TV was calm, think again. Stay tuned, this story is heating up and going viral fast.
Beautiful name, Isis.
Ellen's rough. That's a
Ellen is
rough
like
one.
an old...
But it's a rough one now.
It's a rough one now because she was running Abu Ghraib in the back of her show.
It led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person.
You know that moment when someone is so adored, so polished, so endlessly pleasant that you start to wonder if maybe, just maybe, there's more happening behind the curtain. Enter Ellen DeGeneres, daytime TV's sweetheart, the queen of heartfelt speeches, the dancing, smiling star who built her image on being nice. But then boom, out of nowhere, two bold and unfiltered media voices decide to tap on that flawless image. Not just one, but two, Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly.
Like a lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced. People that are like that all the time, she doesn't seem nice. It's very forced. And whatever, you're allowed to be a right. You're allowed to be nasty to people. You're accomplished. You're a comedian. You did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show where everybody's walking around afraid for their life, and it's like Abu Ghraib where they're hooked up to wires and they have...
Yeah, you heard that right, Joe Rogan. The podcast heavyweight, known for challenging everyone from athletes to wild thinkers, and Megyn Kelly, the journalist who cuts through media polish like it's nothing, both decided to take a closer look at Ellen's picture-perfect image, and just a heads up, what followed was wild, cringy, and honestly pretty entertaining.
This is perfect for you. Because I'm seeing this week that there is an attempted comeback by somebody who did not cross one of those fateful lines of the misstepping on their sacred cows of gender or race or sexuality.
Yeah.
But she was said to be a nasty biatch, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, oh, I had this birthday party, and Ellen said, well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me. And she said, like, no, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened. And Ellen had blown her off and then tried to play the victim on the set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a
Let's start with Joe Rogan. Rogan's platform is like a giant cultural spotlight where no detail slips by, not even the seemingly untouchable queen of feel-good TV. Picture Rogan in his usual straight-shooter mode, eyeing Ellen and wondering, hold on, how does this super sweet image line up with all those behind-the-scenes rumors? He's got a sharp sense for when a celebrity story doesn't quite match the headlines.
It come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person. So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview. She plays...
Joe's angle wasn't some shallow celeb gossip. This was full-on cultural deep diving. He explored the whispers that float around Hollywood stories about a workplace that felt more tense than cheerful. The kind of vibe where folks keep smiling, because, well, their paycheck depends on it. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, it seemed like a totally different story. Imagine that the same star who made us want to dance to upbeat tunes, now being described as the boss who made things feel anything but light. Joe didn't hold back. laying out a contrast so sharp it made you wince. The kind vibe on screen. One thing. The rumored backstage vibe. Something else entirely. It was like watching a feel-good movie with an unexpected twist and no pause button. But Rogan wasn't only talking about Ellen. He zoomed out, calling her a symbol of a bigger cultural issue, the kind of celeb who sells kindness like a product, wraps it in a brand, and expects us all to believe the fairy tale. That's the kindness as a label problem, where what's shown to the world doesn't match what's happening behind the scenes. And Joe. He wasn't afraid to say it because when kindness feels packaged, it's no shock that some folks end up hurt.
They made progress with the strike.
They're picketing right now, so I think it's the early stages. I would think it might take a little bit with this one.
When someone crosses the rider strike, that's some dirty shit. They cross the picket line.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody doing that yet.
I think Ellen did. I had a buddy of mine who was writing on Ellen. Everybody kind of knows now what she's really all about. And that's another one of those. Like, I'm so nice and I'm so sweet.
Now you might think that's enough to stir the pot, but that's only half the story. Enter Megyn Kelly, who came at Ellen from a completely different direction, but just as sharply. While Rogan was unpacking the cultural image, Kelly stepped into full investigative mode and went straight for the foundation of Ellen's empire. Not just the cheerful talk show host, but the whole operation behind the curtain. Think lawsuits, staff complaints, and the stories of a workplace far from friendly things, often skipped over in glossy features and light interviews. Kelly didn't bother with sugarcoating. She carefully connected the dots between Elon's public be kind slogan and the reality behind the scenes. What she uncovered suggested that the cheerful daytime set might have felt less like a happy place and more like a pressure chamber, where ratings and deadlines pushed staff to their limits. And when it came to listening to employee concerns, let's just say the vibe didn't always match the message.
And she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood. This person
with she with $100 million in her pocket.
$450 million according to Forbes. That's a low estimate.
Yeah.
Because so now she's out there saying, I was run out of Hollywood. She's actually reportedly complaining about how hard it is for women in America with the double standards.
Look at Oprah, how hard it is for her.
Oh, she's got, like 10 houses, Ellen DeGeneres?
Michelle Obama, look how hard it is for women in America. They're hurting.
They're going to let her back in, Rob, because she's a lesbian, she's a leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred.
Kelly also turned her attention to the media itself, how headlines often danced around Ellen's controversies, choosing to protect the image instead of question it. But Kelly didn't follow that script. She brought the contradictions into full view, shifting the spotlight from polished smiles to the more complicated truth behind them. This wasn't about stirring drama, it was about digging into the layers of celebrity branding to see what's really there. Put Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly together, and what you get is a 1-2 punch, part cultural critique, part investigative dive, and all around captivating. Rogan's blunt takedowns set the tone by questioning the hype, while Kelly's fact-heavy approach pulled back the curtain on the business behind the persona. Neither was out to start a feud or stage a showdown. It was about unpacking the story, raising questions, and throwing in some well-aimed observations that left Elon's brand looking a little less spotless. But why does this even matter? Because it's bigger than just one celeb's image getting dented. It's about how we buy into celebrity culture, how we accept polished stories at face value, and sometimes the truth, even when it's awkward or funny, deserves to be seen. It's a reminder that behind every Be Kind slogan, there could be a whole other story.
Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? It's a similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show. It's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
Really?
Just look at the temple and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background.
And don't get it twisted, this isn't some over-the-top takedown. It's more like revealing the tricks behind a well-rehearsed magic act. The sparkle's real, but so are the illusions. Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly together feel like that brutally honest friend who speaks up when you're about to make a sketchy choice. It stings, it shocks, and yacht might even make you laugh. So what does this mean for Ellen's legacy? Well, that Be Kind crown might look a little scuffed, and her talk show empire just shifted from fairy tale to something closer to reality. TV. Fans might start watching those dance breaks and charming smiles with new eyes. And maybe, just maybe, other stars will feel the heat too, realizing that branding kindness doesn't guarantee a free pass from tough questions. And here's the twist: Rogan, and Kelly didn't even need Ellen to respond. No direct callouts, no social media back and forth, no PR battles. Just sharp takes, solid research, and the courage to say what others won't. Because these days, exposing someone isn't about drama, it's about digging deeper and telling it like it is.
The leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows. Nastiness, that's their bread and butter.
Well, I think everyone, I will say, like, the resentment, I think everyone should have a chance for reconciliation. I don't think Jesus exempted anybody. And so I do, while it does, because I have been allowed back in, but I don't hold any grievance and resentment. It's very important. And I would just say for Ellen, the resentment, you have to get over resentment to whatever addiction or addictive qualities happen to get over.
So here's the real twist in this whole Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly takedown of Ellen DeGeneres. It's not just about one celebrity's story. Nope, it goes deeper. When these two major voices from totally different media worlds join forces, even unintentionally, they shake up the usual cycle where celebrity drama gets overhyped or quietly ignored. Think about it. Joe Rogan, the podcast titan known for giving a mic to thinkers, fighters, and wildcard guests, stands firmly in the anti-mainstream corner. Then you've got Megyn Kelly, the sharp and polished journalist known for cutting through spin and polished PR. Together, it's like dropping a boulder into a calm lake, and instead of ripples, you get a wave. Joe delivers that classic skepticism, calling out glossy stories and looking past the polished image, which his audience thrives on. The kind of people who love digging past the surface and spotting the disconnect between the performance and the truth. Meanwhile, Megyn digs into the facts, lawsuits, documents, staff complaints, and builds a picture of what's really behind that polished talk show smile.
Bush, you're jumping around. I mean,
That's right. She was buddies with Bush. That
yeah,
was like
she's
one
a
of the first.
CIA agent. Stephen Paddock. And do not ask me for sources, but Stephen Paddock.
Who's that?
He was the guy that shot up the Vegas concert. That was a very tragic thing. Listen to this. The only guy that saw Stephen Paddock alive, his name is Jesus Campos. He was a guard at Mandalay Bay. He got interviewed nowhere else. You know where he got interviewed in the beginning?
Ellen. Really?
Weird. And then they went on, if you could find that clip, they went on with a weird like diagram of how it happened, and Ellen's like showing the people how it happened. Not like an emotional, like, how are you feeling, how are you holding up? It was a weird diagram of like, and then he went to the left and to the right. It was very strange to, look, what the hell's going on? This is a date.
Together, their voices create a powerful cycle that shakes the foundation of celebrity worship. Why does this matter? Because the public isn't just sitting back watching anymore. Thanks to Rogan and Kelly, there's a big wave of fresh curiosity and healthy doubt. People are asking, how much of what we see is just PR tricks? How real is the kindness sold by the biggest names in entertainment? Suddenly, the idea of celebrities as perfect, flawless icons feels outdated and a bit naive. This isn't just Elon's issue, it's a cultural shift. Fans want the real story, flaws and all, craving more than just the shiny surface. This new scrutiny bursts open the celebrity bubble, showing the gap between polished public images and messy private lives. It's eye-opening, making us rethink how we consume entertainment and admire stars. When "Be Kind" turns into a marketing slogan instead of a true value, it feels less inspiring and more like a sales pitch. People aren't just shocked or entertained. They're thinking about what realness means in a world full of social media filters and PR spin. Even better, none of this drama involved Ellen storming off or online battles. No heated confrontations or live TV meltdowns. This story came out through sharp insights, storytelling, and smart skepticism, the kind that makes you pause instead of scroll away. It's a welcome change from the usual recycled celebrity fights.
Uniform, yeah.
Like, that's an odd look with all those buttons. Like, why do you have so many wrist buttons?
It was given to her in Langley.
The only reason why you have that many wrist buttons if you're looking at clothes on somebody.
Yeah, look at her. Look at her.
Yeah.
Everyone says she looks so friendly. She looks friendly.
She does look very military.
Yeah, she's a militant woman.
With a very expensive watch.
She
too.
dealt with a lot of discrimination when she came out. It was very sad, but then she joined the CIA.
Her house got broken into while she was at home.
Really?
Yeah. She got a dope place in Montecito.
And they broke in while she was there.
Yeah.
And those people are still being tortured to this day.
Probably.
They're still in an underground jail.
Instead, Rogan and Kelly proved you can expose contradictions, challenge stories, and hold public figures accountable without messy, petty fights. This made the whole conversation feel deeper and more thought-provoking, even while keeping it entertaining. Looking ahead, this could spark some major changes. Fans who once followed Ellen without question might start scrutinizing other stars with similarly perfect images. The spotlight could shift to the complex truths behind other polished brands, making it harder for any be-kind act to escape attention. This might kick off a new era in celebrity culture, where authenticity isn't just a trendy word but an expected standard. Maybe that's why Elon's nice empire seems less solid now, because audiences want real kindness, not just a costume. So yeah, the combined force of Joe Rogan's counterculture influence and Megyn Kelly's sharp journalism isn't just about tearing Ellen down, it's a cultural reset. A wake-up call for all of us who've been happily buying into celebrity PR. It's about demanding better stories, real people behind the fame, and a lot less polished perfection on our screens. And honestly, that's way more satisfying than any reality TV drama.
Make
Like,
your
of
mistakes.
all people on earth to be feeling sorry for herself, Ellen DeGeneres should not be on the list.
She should at least, but make a real apology and do it.
There's no apology. It's just woe is me. I was run out of Hollywood as she speaks from this grandiose stage on Netflix. Hello, you haven't been canceled if you are doing a Netflix special. She got 20 million for the one before this. I'm sure.
At the end of the day, this whole saga reminds us that in a world obsessed with image, the truth finds a way to slip out sometimes, with help from unexpected allies like Joe and Megyn. And if Ellen's legacy takes a hit along the way, maybe that's exactly what needed to happen. Because if progress means revealing the cracks in our favorite stories, then bring on the spotlight and let the real truth come through. So next time you hear someone preaching kindness from a stage or screen, remember, it's worth asking, what's really happening behind the scenes? Sometimes the brightest smiles hide the toughest secrets, and sometimes it takes voices like Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly to shine a light on those